Hey guys, I'm here with yet another video, and instead of it being a joke one where I shit something out in about 4 hours and get nothing but critical acclaim for all my hard work, clearly I deserve all the praise and all the likes possible. No, I'm fucking around. Anyway, I decided to actually add something together because this is the subject that I actually thought was kind of cool and I'm actually kind of hyped for and I'm excited about. So, anime is a pretty big influence on my life and this channel if it's not blatantly apparent at this point. So when I heard the news that one of my favorites is actually getting not a remake but essentially a continuation, and it's directed by the exact same people that directed the anime in the first place, well, yeah, I have to actually get genuinely excited for it. And essentially I'm going to stop beating around the bush here and basically say what's going on. Ghost in the Shell is getting a new anime adaptation, but I don't really want to say new anime because essentially it's going to be another season of the Standalone Complex series. It's Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex 2045. I'm actually a really big Ghost in the Shell fan. I really like the original film. The manga is really good, but it's certainly different than if you watch the shows. Very different vibes. But moving on. The movies are really good. Standalone Complex to me is like mandatory anime watch. You do not fucking skip that no matter what. Kusanagi is fucking badass. All the characters are fucking great. The lore around it is really rich and detailed. It's just a fucking cool show. It's a fucking cool series in general. And yes, it's had its downsides. Arise wasn't terrible. It just wasn't Ghost in the Shell. And it was very, very apparent because, well, Kusanagi looked like a 13-year-old boy. No clue why they went in that direction. I mean, the FBI is already looking at my FAP list, and last thing they need to see is fucking Arise Kusanagi. They will not listen to context. I learned that after the last raid. So, Ghost in the Shell has had its very, very highs with the original film. I like Ghost in the Shell Innocence. That one's fucking trippy as shit, but I liked it a lot. Standalone Complex and Second Gig, which is basically just Standalone Complex Season 2, is really good. I just like the first one more, which is weird because I think Second Gig has better episodes. It's just, I don't know, I think I like the first one due to nostalgia. Plus, the theme is a lot cooler. Yeah, I mean, Rise is good, but it can't fucking beat Inner Universe. There's no contest. So, this new anime series is going to throw its hat in the ring, and will be distributed by Netflix and directed by our very own fucking Kenji Kamiyama, the same dude that directed Standalone Complex, and another co-director, Shinji Aramaki. He, to my knowledge, directed the Appleseed stuff, which that's not technically Ghost in the Shell. To my knowledge, it just takes place in kind of a far future for it and focuses more on like a post-apocalyptic war setting. I have yet to see any of the Appleseed stuff. I definitely plan to. It's just kind of getting around to it. And all in all, this news is like really hyping me up. This doesn't sound like shit in the slightest. With all the news lately of like The Witcher getting butchered, Cowboy Bebop getting butchered, it's really cool to know that there's actually something to look forward to on Netflix. Granted, more than likely everyone's just going to wait until Kiss Anime rips it and fucking watch it there because they don't want to give money to Netflix, which I completely understand. I'm not going to blame anybody for that. Moving on from that, though, because that's technically endorsing piracy and YouTube doesn't like that, but you know what? Pirate all your anime. Fuck Crunchyroll. fuck those cunts. So we have a new series that's coming out, directed by the people that essentially directed the critically acclaimed and still beloved original series. Yes, I don't want to feel like I'm leaving the movies out, because the movies are really good. It's just that they're definitely a different vibe. If you watch the original Ghost in the Shell film that came out in, I want to say, like, 97? It was definitely kind of almost off the Matrix hype. I want to say it was right before, because the Wachowskis used Ghost in the Shell as an influence. Basically, late 90s era. It was a really good movie. It's just a lot more of a philosophical art house type thing. You won't really see as many gunshots as you would think you would if you watch something like Standalone Complex, which really found a balance between the philosophy and slow building investigation along with the gunfights. That's why I like Standalone the most, because it hit a really good balance. And knowing that the exact same director's coming back for it, all I can think is we're going to hit that balance again. I think this is going to be a really fun show that's going to have a lot more heavy themes that no one will really help but harp on for way too long in fucking clickbait YouTube videos. You can already imagine it, because Evangelion is going to air on Netflix, and so you're going to see the same bullshit clickbait where it's, oh, Evangelion wasn't as good as you thought it was, or, oh, Evangelion has made a point whether you like it or not, some bullshit like that. Anyway, yeah, I fucking hate YouTube culture. So, Ghost in the Shell, I'm excited for it a lot. There are rumors that they're going to experiment with apparently doing an all CG, kind of like Ajin. I don't think so. I hope not. To me, CG and anime doesn't really mesh that well. It always sticks out like a sore fucking thumb unless you stylize it in a heavy, heavy way. Like, Ajin did it all right because it just 100% dedicated to it. So you can kind of get used to, seeing CG characters everywhere. But to me, hand-drawn 2D is always going to be the best, no matter what. I mean, look at something like Perfect Blue, which was hand-drawn in the fucking 90s. It will look phenomenally better than even the best CG in anime, because it's just amazing. Perfect Blue is like one of the fucking best movies ever made. So, I'm hoping Ghost in the Shell does stick to 2D. That's kind of a smaller detail, though, because, the writing and all that can make or break it, especially the directing, because when you look at something like Berserk 2016 or 2017, a lot more killed that than just CG. It was horrible direction, horrible soundtrack. A lot of shit tanked Berserk. So as long as you have someone experienced at the helm who knows what they're doing, is used to the series, has respect for it, I think they can really make shit work. And the only thing I'm kind of cautious about is Netflix, because we've seen them step on their own dick more than once. I mean, they were at the height of their game, and then all of a sudden they did shit like change the rating system to appease fucking Amy Schumer. They put like inane bullshit like the fucking Dear White People show that nobody fucking watched. They cut It's Always Sunny from the roster and fucking canceled Daredevil after 3 seasons. More than likely because Disney was gonna fucking stream it on their service and they can't have any competition. But instead of trying to reach some kind of compromise or anything like that, they just decided to kill the entire fucking show and spend like, what, $100 million to fucking stream Friends constantly? Yeah, real smart there, Netflix. I mean, they did nothing but try to appease all the fucking San Francisco hipsters that pirate all their shit anyway, and then whine about why all these shows get canceled or why there aren't enough directors of this creed or that creed. And I really don't want to bring this shit into Ghost in the Shell because I want to be excited for it. And honestly, Ghost in the Shell is kind of a red-pilled series if you genuinely look at it. When you look at, the entire season of Second Gig, the whole thing of that is literally a story about unchecked immigration affecting the culture of Japan, because it takes place in like 2030s Japan. And all these unchecked immigrants end up causing a lot of shit, and then you have the whole shit with Individual 11 exploiting them for their own gain. Yeah, it actually had a lot under the hood, more than just, oh, cool cyberpunk action shit. So, who knows? We might be able to see them reach that same level, because Netflix tends to leave a lot of the anime stuff alone in regards to that. I know Anime Now is just starting to kind of creep into the social justice shit. Like the new Saint Seiya shit they're gonna do. They turn Shun into a woman because, I mean, Shun always did look kind of like a chick, but now they're full on like, yeah, let's turn her into a girl because there aren't enough girls in anime or some shit like that. The director had some bullshit fucking excuse. It was really dumb. So I'm hoping Japan isn't creeping into that, especially with the whole shit with Sony and all that. And apparently there was a rape scene in Sword Art Online that had to be censored. I think it was Crunchyroll demanded it. And yeah, it's fucking... Anime is starting to go down a really bad path it really shouldn't be going down, and I hope Ghost in the Shell is able to creep away from all that. Just because, you know, it's an amazing series. It doesn't deserve that. So, all in all, I think it is definitely something to be excited for, as long as it can stay up to about the same quality as the first season of Seven Deadly Sins or Devilman Crybaby. I think this can be something that is really fucking good and can be a genuine gateway into fucking Ghost in the Shell and the whole series, other than that terrible Scarlett Johansson movie, which some people say they like. Those people also happen to be liars. I'm sorry, that movie was atrocious. It was fucking awful. It did not look like Ghost in the Shell in the slightest. It felt like someone watched Blade Runner and then smoked pot and then watched Ghost in the Shell and had like mere flashes from the show, so they mainly turned it into more of a Blade Runner thing. It just didn't feel natural in the slightest. I didn't like it at all. But one thing this has definitely made me think about is, why don't we see more Ghost in the Shell games? I mean, it's a series that's literally begging for a video game adaptation. I know there's one on the PS2 I actually ended up trying to emulate, and I would put footage, but it really didn't like OBS. So the most I could do was like flashes or footage with horrible frame dips. But it actually wasn't bad. It had some really cool ideas to it, like hacking enemies in the middle of a fight, doing like martial arts shit and mixing that with a gunfight. It's really cool ideas. It's just kind of like an okay game. The PS1 game, a PSP game, that was, to my knowledge, that one was like a first-person shooter. There was, I think it was like First Assault Contact, something like that. It was like this, think of like a Counter-Strike, but with like Ghost in the Shell aesthetic and unlocks. So basically Neo Tokyo before that died. And we were supposed to get it over in the West, but it got canceled, I think due to, I think the company went under, and they got canceled like months before the Western release, which kind of sucked because what I saw of it, it looked pretty neat. I mean, obviously it would have just been a multiplayer game and wouldn't have actually been the RPG that Ghost in the Shell probably should actually get, but fuck it, you know, get what you can get. And I know the director of Cyberpunk 2077, a game I'm really fucking hyped for, basically said that Ghost in the Shell is a major influence, along with, you know, stuff like Dread and obviously Blade Runner. If it's Cyberpunk, Blade Runner shows up somewhere. And I love Blade Runner, but, you know. And he even outright said, to my knowledge, you could do a Kusanagi build, which I might end up doing just because, you know, the major's fucking awesome. So yeah, some rambling about Ghost in the Shell because I'm hyped as fuck for the new anime, and I really hope Netflix doesn't try to kill itself because it's terrified of success. I hope this anime can actually be really fucking good, and I hope we can all wash the horrible taste of Scarlett Johansson out of our mouth. I mean, Arise isn't great, but it's better than that fucking movie. So yeah, have a good one, guys.